Can you believe it? I've spent my entire career chasing down crooks, solving crimes that make your head spin, and bringing order to absolute chaos, yet here I am, tangled up in the most ridiculous neighborhood drama imaginable. Me, a seasoned police officer, blindsided by this? Unreal! Before we plunge into this wild tale, I've got a quick favor to ask. Drop a comment below and let me know where you're tuning in from. It blows my mind how far these stories travel, and I'd love to hear from you. Thanks a million. All right, let's dive into the madness. My name's Matthew Hayes, and after years of grueling, high-stakes police assignments, I was beyond ready to kick back and enjoy some peace. My amazing wife, Emily, and our teenage son, Ethan, were right there with me, dreaming of the same thing. Couldn't we just find a quiet, safe little spot to call home? A place where the constant pressure of my job wouldn't hang over us like a dark cloud? That's when we stumbled upon Oak Ridge Estates. Oh man, it was perfect. Gorgeous homes, pristine streets, and this serene vibe that screamed, "This is it!" Sure, there was an HOA, every neighborhood's got one, right? But we didn't sweat it. Follow the rules, keep it simple, and we'd be golden. Or so I thought. Here's the kicker. I didn't tell a soul, not even in those casual chats over the fence, that I'd just been named the new police chief of our little town. Was I hiding it? No way. I just didn't want the spotlight that comes with the badge. You know how it is. People get all weird when they find out you're a cop, tiptoeing around or asking for favors. I wanted to blend in, be a regular guy with a lawnmower and a barbecue, not Chief Hayes every time I stepped outside. That first week, smooth sailing. Neighbors were polite, if a bit standoffish. Lawns were trimmed to perfection, and the HOA seemed pretty active in keeping things spick and span. Emily and I shrugged it off. A little organization never hurt anyone, right? Ha! Famous last words. Then bam, enter Karen Whitmore. Picture this. I'm out back, setting up our yard, minding my own business, when this woman marches up like she owns the place. Clipboard in hand, she launches into this bossy tirade about HOA rules, specific paint colors for houses, landscaping do's and don'ts, guidelines for every little tweak you could imagine. She's all, "I personally approve every change around here," like she's the dictator of Oak Ridge Estates. I'm nodding, keeping it cool, but inside, something's off. It's not just her authority, it's the way she struts around oozing control. Like she's the queen and we're all her peasants. Did I call her out? Nope. I let it slide. Trouble's the last thing I'm after. Fast forward a few days, and I'm pumped to start this dream project. An in-ground pool in our backyard. I'm talking permits from the city check. Construction within our property lines check. A design that fits the neighborhood's vibe double check. The HOA handbook says zip about banning pools, so I'm thinking, what's the problem? Oh, how naive was I. Trouble shows up again in the form of Karen, arms crossed, glaring at my construction crew like they're defiling sacred ground. "That pool isn't allowed," she snaps, no hesitation. I wipe my sweaty hands on my jeans, flash a friendly smile, and say, "Pretty sure it is, Karen. I've checked the city codes, the HOA handbook, nothing against backyard pools." Her lips tighten into this thin, angry line. "The HOA has an aesthetic standard," she fires back. "You should have gotten approval for such a drastic change." Approval? For real? I raise an eyebrow and hit her with, "Backyard mods don't need approval, it's right there in the guidelines." Her face darkens and she mutters, "The HOA board has the final say," before storming off. I brush it off at first. She's just a control freak, right? I followed every rule. What's she gonna do about it? 2 days later, a letter lands in my mailbox from the HOA, claiming my pool violates community regulations and demanding I tear it down or face daily fines. Emily peeks over my shoulder and lets out this incredulous laugh. "This is insane. Can they just invent rules out of thin air?" I grumble. "Karen sure thinks she can." This means war or at least a showdown at the next HOA meeting. I head to that meeting not to pick a fight, but to set the record straight. Big mistake underestimating Karen. She's up front with her posse of board members, looking like some kangaroo court ready to pass judgment. The room's packed, curious neighbors. Karen's loyal yes men, the whole crew. I bring up my pool, and she cuts me off like I'm a pesky fly. This isn't about individual violations, she purrs, all smooth and smug. It's about the neighborhood's integrity. A few folks nod like she's preaching gospel. I keep my cool and say, all right, let's talk integrity then. The handbook doesn't ban pools. Want new rules? Call a vote. You can't just nix my pool because it bugs you. She scoffs, actually scoffs, and goes, we have discretionary authority. Oh, really? Not over city laws, I shoot back. Permits trump HOA preferences, and I'm in the clear legally. The room goes dead quiet. Karen's face twists with frustration. She knows. I've got her pinned by the rules, but she's not backing down. You're new here, Mr. Hayes, she says, ice cold. Show some respect for how we do things. I flash a tiny smirk. Respect's earned, Karen, and all I see is an HOA bullying folks with fake rules. She glares daggers but clams up. The meeting rolls on, and I'm thinking, this ain't over. Little did I know how far she'd take it. Days later, I'm finally living the dream. The pool's done, crystal clear water sparkling in the sun. Emily's chilling with a book. Ethan's drifting on a raft. Peace at last. Or so I think, until I spot Karen charging down the sidewalk like a bull seeing red. You've got to be kidding me, I groan. Emily glances up. What now? Before I can answer, Karen storms into my yard, face flushed with rage. I set my drink down as she hisses. You ignored the violation notice. That pool shouldn't be here. I take a deep breath, staying calm. Karen, we've been over this. City approved it. Handbook's fine with it, conversation's done. But oh no, she's not done. Her eyes lock onto the pool, and I catch this wild, unhinged glint. What's she up to? Before I can blink, she whips out a sharp metal rod from her pocket and charges the pool liner. She stabs it right through, whoosh, water gushes out, a loud hiss turning into a flood across my yard. Ethan scrambles off his float. Emily leaps up, and I'm seeing red. Have you lost your damn mind, Karen? I yell, stepping toward her. She spins around, a twisted mix of triumph and panic on her face. This is your fault, she screeches. You made me do this. Made her? Is she serious? Get out of my yard now, I roar, barely holding it together. But wait, it gets crazier. Instead of leaving, she yanks out her phone and dials 911 right there. Yes, this is Karen Whitmore. I'm being attacked. Send officers quick, he's threatening me. My jaw drops. Attacked? Threatened? Emily's stunned. Is she for real? I let out a bitter, disbelieving laugh. Oh, this is gonna be good. 5 minutes later, sirens wail and a police car screeches up. 2 officers step out, and Karen turns on the crocodile tears. Officers, thank God. He attacked me, threatened me, grabbed me. I'm standing there, arms folded, as Officer Reynolds eyes us both. Lawson, the other cop, squints. Wait, Chief? Yep, that's right. That's me, I say, savoring the moment. Care to explain why Karen thought calling 911 on the police chief was smart? Her face goes white as a sheet. It's a misunderstanding, she stammers. I didn't know. Reynolds sighs. Miss S. Whitmore, falsifying a police report's a crime, ring a bell? She stumbles back. No, he was aggressive. Lawson peers at the pool, water still pouring out. And this mess just happened by itself? Emily jumps in, fuming. She barged in and did it. Reynolds scribbles in his notepad. Vandalism, trespassing, fake 911, call Miss S. Whitmore, you're coming with us. You're arresting me? She shrieks. Lawson's blunt. You stabbed his pool and lied to 911, yep. As they haul her off, she's still yelling, "You can't do this." I lean in close and whisper, "Karen, I follow the law. You think you're above it." The car door slams and she's gone. Emily exhales. Well, that escalated. Oh, but this roller coaster's just getting started. I took a deep breath, fighting to keep my cool. Can you imagine how hard that was? "Karen, we've been over this a million times," I said, my voice steady despite the storm brewing inside me. "The city gave me the green light." The HOA handbook doesn't say a peep about banning pools. This conversation, it's done over. But Karen? Oh, she wasn't about to let it go. Her eyes flicked to my sparkling new pool, and I swear I saw this wild, unhinged spark flare up in her face, pure craziness. Before I could even process it, she yanked something out of her pocket, a sharp, gleaming metal rod. What the heck was she planning? She lunged at the pool liner like a woman possessed and stabbed it right through. A deafening hiss ripped through the air as water gushed out. Holy cow. It turned into a raging river, flooding my yard in seconds. My son Ethan scrambled off his float, splashing in panic, and Emily jumped up so fast her book hit the ground. My blood? It was boiling. "You've lost your freaking mind, Karen." I roared, storming toward her, my fists clenched tight. She whipped around, her face this twisted mess of smug satisfaction and sheer panic. "Can you believe the nerve? This is your fault," she screeched, her voice piercing the air like a banshee. "You forced me to do this." Forced her. "Are you kidding me? Get out of my yard now." I barked, my temper hanging by a thread, ready to snap. But instead of hightailing it out of there, Karen pulled the most outrageous stunt I've ever witnessed. She fumbled for her phone and dialed 911 right in front of me. "Yes, this is Karen Whitmore," she wailed into the receiver. "I'm being attacked. Send officers now. He's threatening me." My jaw hit the floor. Threatening her? She's the one with the weapon. Emily's eyes went wide as saucers. "Is she serious right now?" I let out this bitter, incredulous laugh. "Oh, this is going to be one for the books." Barely 5 minutes later, can you believe how fast they showed up? Sirens wailed down the street, and a police car screeched to a stop in front of my house. 2 officers stepped out, badges glinting in the sun. And Karen? She flipped the script like an Oscar-worthy actress. The second she spotted them, she cranked up the waterworks, tears streaming down her face. "Officers, thank God you're here," she sobbed, clutching her chest. He attacked me. He was threatening me. He grabbed me." "Attacked her? Grabbed her?" I'm standing there, cool as a cucumber. Officer Reynolds glanced from her to me, his face a blank slate. What was he thinking? Then Lawson, the other cop, raised an eyebrow and muttered, "Wait, Chief? Oh yeah, that's right." I crossed my arms, letting the sweet irony sink in. "Yup, that's me," I said with a grin. And I'm dying to hear why Karen thought dialing 911 on the police chief was her brilliant next move. Her face drained of color, pale as a ghost. It's a misunderstanding," she stammered, tripping over her own words. I didn't know. Didn't know? Come on." Reynolds sighed, shaking his head like he'd seen it all before. "Mrs. Whitmore, you do realize filing a false police report is a crime, don't you?" he asked, his tone dripping with exhaustion. Karen stumbled back, flustered beyond belief. No. He was being aggressive, he was." Lawson cut her off, strolling over to the backyard where water was still pouring out of that gaping hole in my pool. He let out a low whistle. Talk about an understatement. "And this disaster just magically happened on its own?" he quipped. Emily marched forward, arms crossed, fury blazing in her eyes. "She barged onto our property and did that," she snapped, pointing at the wreckage. Reynolds pulled out his notepad, scribbling like he was writing a novel. "Vandalism, trespassing, false emergency report," he muttered, shaking his head again. "Miss S. Whitmore, you're coming with us." Her mouth flopped open and shut, like a fish out of water, no sound, just shock. "Wait, you're arresting me?" she shrieked, her voice hitting a pitch that could shatter glass. You stabbed a hole in a man's pool. Lawson shot back deadpan as ever, then called 911 with a fake assault. Story, yeah. We're arresting you. As they hauled her toward the squad car, she flailed one last time. You can't do this! I stepped up close, dropping my voice to a steely whisper. Karen, here's the difference between us. I follow the law. You think you're untouchable. She glared at me, pure venom in her eyes, but she had nothing left to say. The car door slammed shut, bam, and they peeled away. Emily exhaled, her shoulders slumping. Well, that escalated fast, she said, half laughing, half stunned. Oh, but trust me, Karen's saga was far from over. The next morning, can you feel the tension? Oak Ridge Estates was buzzing. Hushed whispers floated through the air, and nervous glances darted between houses as folks peeked out from behind their curtains. Why? Because Karen Whitmore, fresh out of jail, stormed back into the neighborhood like a hurricane. She was furious, red-faced, practically steaming, and nowhere near ready to admit defeat. By noon, an emergency HOA meeting was called emergency, as in, we've got to deal with this now. Normally, Karen ruled those meetings like a tyrant, perched at the head of the table, dishing out random fines and barking orders. But this time, oh, it felt different, electric. The air crackled with tension and this wild sense of hope. The community was waking up, finally finding its voice. The clubhouse was a madhouse packed to the rafters. Homeowners crammed into every chair, some leaning against the walls, whispering like kids sharing secrets. And there, front and center, sat Karen, arms crossed so tight you'd think she'd snap, glaring at the board members like a trapped wildcat. She wasn't used to this being questioned, held accountable. Unthinkable. Steve Harper, the HOA vice president, took the podium, his face a mask as he shuffled some papers. He cleared his throat, nervous much, and started slow. As you all know, we had an incident last night, he said, shooting a quick glance at Karen. An incident that ended with the arrest of our current HOA president, Miss S. Whitmore. Gasps echoed through the room, though. Let's be real. Everyone already knew the gossip. Karen rocketed out of her seat, surprise. Surprise! This is a disgrace, she bellowed. You have no right to. Sit down. Steve cut her off, calm but firm as steel. She froze. Did she just hear that right? Her eyes widened. She wasn't the boss anymore. Slowly, she sank back into her chair, fuming like a volcano ready to blow. Steve faced the crowd again. Over the past few days, we've dug deep into Karen Whitmore's leadership, and folks, what we found? It's a mess, murmurs rippled through the room. She's been running this HOA off the rails. Steve went on, approving and denying stuff with no legal ground, slapping fines on people for rules that aren't even in the handbook. She's not here to help us. She's here to control us. The whispers turned into a roar. People were ticked. She fined me for my garden gnome. Someone hollered from the back. She hated my window shutter's color, another shouted. She forced me to ditch my kid's playset, said it wrecked the vibe. The anger was a tidal wave now. Karen leaped up again, predictable much. I was keeping order. She screeched, desperation cracking her voice. Without me, this place would be chaos. Steve turned to her, cool as ice. Karen, the only chaos around here? That's on you. Her jaw dropped, no comeback this time. We've sifted through years of complaints, fines, HOA calls, Steve said, waving at a towering stack of files. Most of it? Her personal whims, no board approval, no community votes. That's not how this is supposed to work. Karen's fists balled up. You're twisting everything, she spat. I did what was best for this neighborhood. Steve sighed long and slow. That's for the homeowners to decide, he said, nodding to the crowd. Right now, we're voting should Karen Whitmore stay HOA president or go. Cheers erupted finally. Some power. Ballots flew out, and one by one, folks marched up, dropping their votes in the box. Karen sat there, stiff as a board, her eyes darting around as her old cronies dodged her glare. She'd ruled by fear forever, but now, unity was her kryptonite. It didn't take long, Suspense City, before Steve unfolded the last ballot, took a breath, and announced, "The vote's 28-1, she's out." Silence, then boom, the room exploded in applause. Karen's face went deathly pale. "No, no, you can't do this to me," she wailed. "But oh yes, we could, and we did. Oh, we can," Steve declared, stepping aside with a triumphant gleam in his eye. "Can you believe the guts it took to say that?" Karen Whitmore, effective immediately, you're out as president of the Oak Ridge Estates HOA. The room erupted. Holy smokes, what a scene. Homeowners cheered like they'd just won the lottery, some clapping so hard their hands must have stung, others laughing out loud in sheer relief. Karen? Oh, she shot up from her chair like a rocket, trembling with rage, pure, unfiltered fury. "You people are blind!" she screamed, her voice shaking the walls. "You need me! This neighborhood's gonna crumble without me, mark my words." Steve didn't flinch, he just turned to the stack of fresh ballots. "All right, folks, we need a new HOA president. Any nominations?" A bold voice rang out from the back. "I nominate Steve Harper." A tidal wave of agreement crashed through the crowd, seconded. "Heck yeah, agreed." Steve paused, looking stunned. Could he really take this on? But with all those eager faces cheering him on, he nodded. "If the community wants me, I'm in." Another round of applause thundered through Karen Whitmore's reign was toast. But as the meeting wrapped up and folks trickled out of the clubhouse, I couldn't take my eyes off her. Karen didn't storm out in a huff, didn't yell or flip tables like I expected. No way, she just stood there, still as a statue, her face icy and unreadable. What was brewing in that head of hers? That's when it hit me this wasn't over, not by a long shot. She'd lost her precious throne, but Karen Whitmore wasn't the type to slink away quietly. Revenge was coming, I could feel it in my bones, and oh boy, was she plotting something nasty. For a few glorious days, Oak Ridge Estates felt like paradise reborn. The air was lighter. Can you imagine how good that felt? The neighborhood buzzed with a friendlier vibe, and homeowners, once paralyzed by Karen's ridiculous fines and nonstop nagging, finally breathed easy, enjoying their homes without her shadow lurking around every corner. We thought we'd ditched the tyrant for good, ha! If only. Karen wasn't done, not even close. She'd lost her crown, her power, her grip on us, and she was itching, burning for payback. It all kicked off with the lights. Oh, what a shock. One evening, just as the sun slipped below the horizon, bam, the whole neighborhood plunged into darkness. Streetlights flickered out like dying stars. Porch lights that had just winked on went black, total blackout. The entire power grid of Oak Ridge Estates? Kaput! Emily peeked out the window, her voice trembling. "Is it just us?" I fumbled with my phone. No service. Nothing. Nope. It's everybody. I grabbed a flashlight, heart pounding, and stepped outside. Neighbors were already clustering on their lawns, muttering in confusion what was happening. A few tried calling the power company deadlines every time. Then we saw it, sprawled across the clubhouse doors in huge, dripping red spray paint. "You all deserve this!" A shiver raced down my spine. Oh my God. "No way," someone whispered, but we all knew Karen was back. Morning came, power flickered on, and we thought, phew, dodged a bullet. Wrong, relief, short-lived. People started noticing things, horrible things. Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, that sweet elderly couple down the street, can you guess what they woke up to? Their whole lawn buried under piles of rotting garbage. The smell, unbearable. The Wilsons, who'd yelled loudest to boot Karen out, found their cars trashed, slashed tires, smashed windows, and nasty insults scrawled in paint across the doors. And the worst, the worst, a few houses, mine included, got hit with an infestation. Roaches, hundreds of them. crawling in mailboxes, sneaking through air vents, skittering across kitchen counters. We sprayed, we scrubbed. Did it stop them? Nope, they kept coming. Steve, our new HOA prez, called an emergency meeting, his face grim. "Someone's doing this on purpose," he said. "Someone," I grumbled under my breath. Yeah, right, we all knew who. Days dragged on and the attacks didn't let up. Karen wasn't just after me. She wanted the whole neighborhood to pay. Then poof, the HOA records vanished. Every last 1 years of homeowner files, rulebooks, financial logs gone. Steve was beside himself, practically spitting fire. They were locked in a filing cabinet in the clubhouse. Someone broke in. Yeah, someone, a board member echoed, rolling their eyes. By now, we were on edge, high alert. Security cameras popped up everywhere. Neighbors prowled the streets at night like vigilantes. Had anyone seen Karen? Not a glimpse, but her presence? We felt it like a ghost haunting us. Then came the fire. Oh, Lord, the fire. At 2:17 a.m., the clubhouse went up in flames, roaring, unstoppable flames. By the time the fire truck screeched in, it was too late, way too late. That building, the beating heart of our community, reduced to ashes. And there on the last charred wall, still standing, scribbled in Karen's jagged handwriting, "Hope you enjoy chaos." The cops swarmed in fast. Where was she? Karen was MIA. Some swore they saw her peeling out of town that night, tires squealing. Others whispered. She was still here, lurking, waiting. One thing we knew for sure, Karen Whitmore had struck her revenge. And how? The next morning, Oak Ridge Estates was a different place. Can you feel the shift? Our once perfect little world was scarred by chaos, blackened clubhouse ruins, trashed homes, a neighborhood teetering on the brink. Karen had made her move and vanished into the shadows like some wicked phantom. But here's the thing, she messed up big time. She thought she was untouchable. Ha! The police were already on it, digging into the blackout, the vandalism, and now arson. She'd been sneaky. Sure, no clear shots of her on camera, no witnesses catching her red-handed. Or so she thought. Some of us smart folks decided to rewind our security footage, not just for the fire, but for any weirdness leading up to it. And jackpot, we hit gold. On the blackout night, a shadowy figure popped up on a back alley camera, lugging bolt cutters. Grainy as heck, but that stiff, determined strut. Pure Karen! More clips rolled in. A camera at the neighborhood's edge caught her sneaking into the clubhouse late at night, right before those records disappeared. Another nabbed her beat-up car creeping near the Thompsons' place, hours before their lawn turned into a dump. And the clincher, oh, the clincher. A hardware store video of Karen buying spray paint, pest control chemicals, and industrial-strength glue. She thought she'd covered her tracks. Think again, lady. Detectives pieced it all together, bam. And in 24 hours flat, an arrest warrant was out for Karen Whitmore. But plot twist, she was gone. Neighbors swore they saw her car zooming out of Oak Ridge the night of the fire room. Someone said she had kin in another state. Others bet she was hiding right here, biding her time. Cops raided her house empty, tracked her credit cards zip, called her family nope, nada. She was a fugitive on the run. Days passed tense, quiet days with no sign of her. Then boom, a break. A gas station clerk spilled about a weird woman slinking in late at night, hoodie up, sunglasses on, paying with crumpled cash. She barely spoke, kept her head low, jittery as a cat. Cops checked the tape. And who else? Karen. Better yet, she was driving a rental car. Bingo. She'd used an ID. A SWAT team tracked the rental's GPS to a grimy motel on the town's edge and surrounded it before dawn. Talk about a sting. A detective pounded the door. Karen Whitmore, we've got a warrant, hands up. Come out now. Dead silence, then rustling inside. Officers kicked the door and crash. And there she was, scrambling for a back window. She dyed her hair, swapped her clothes, nice try, but that face. Unmistakable. She didn't get far, oh no. A 9 unit took her down in seconds, pinning her as she shrieked, "This isn't fair. This isn't fair!" Cuffs snapped on click. And that was that. Thanks for sticking with this wild ride. Stay tuned for more craziness. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic tales like this.